All right, welcome into hour two. Let's hit the 4 o'clock window games here as we get ready to get knee deep into week 16. 4 o'clock window, Tim, the one that sticks out here, man. We'll talk about it here for a second. Minnesota Vikings at the Seattle Seahawks. What's beautiful about this game is if the Seahawks win, we increase our chances of passing the Vikings up for the number 2 seed, right? Yep. Or the number 3 seed. I'm sorry. Five. Five is what it would be, right? Yeah, 5. So we got a chance to improve in seedings if the Seattle Seahawks win. But if the Vikings win, Seattle Seahawks are going to drop like we were talking about. Both them and the Rams drop. Then we got a lot more cushion to secure that playoff berth. Obviously, it would lock it in place. So Vikings at the Seahawks, man. How do you see that, dude?
What's up with Geno? Do we have an update on him?
I don't know. Everybody in the chat, hit us up, man. Hit us up in the chat. Do you know what Geno Smith, his status is for the game here on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, if he's not playing, I don't know. I think if Seattle's close to full strength, maybe they make a run at the Vikings, steal one here. That would be great. It is a home game, we'll see, I don't know. Tough environment to play in. The Vikings are, a dome team. I don't know, man. This could be a chance for a little upset here for Seattle if they get a win.
Yeah, Fred McFarley says Geno is playing. Nick says he thinks he's playing. Jason, Geno is good to go. Geno was full go at practice, says Ron Samble. J. Cole, Geno's playing.
Here we go. Let's go Seattle.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. People see the way he acted in that game and like, man, I thought he was really hurt. Let's be honest, guys. I know bad acting when I see it. He was trying to get a flag on Edgerrin Cooper on that play is what he was trying to do. And then he walks it back to the locker room and comes right back out, right? And it's like, hold up a minute, buddy. You act like you were dying just a second ago. What just happened? What changed? So
he was tired of getting sacked.
That's exactly what it was. Exactly what it was. So Vikings at the Seahawks, the game I'm probably most interested in there. Patriots at the Bills. The Bills probably win that by 212 points, to be honest with you. Might be some snow on the ground, though, so you just put the TV on mute. Don't worry about the football and just enjoy the background, right? That's one of those games. Then you got the Jaguars at the Raiders, 4:25 kickoff as well.
Holy crap, there's the toilet bowl.
Yeah, that's a pretty bad one there, man. Listen, matter of fact, we've got our other graphic here. Let's see. This might be the battle for the number 1 pick or close to it, right? Jaguars have the number 4 pick at 3-11, and the Raiders have the number 1 pick at 2-12. Yeah, this is one of those games that they're just going to be throwing the ball back and forth to each other, Tim. Like, no, you take it. No, I don't want you take it. Let's try to get this number 1 pick. There might be some really bad football seeing that they're going to be first overall pick on the line here, bud.
Yeah, I would agree. Who wants it? Who want the pick bowl? Who wants it, more than the other guy? Let's see.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I will not be watching that game. Sorry.
Yeah, I probably won't even be looking at the highlights, to be honest with you, or the numbers, stats, or anything. We'll just pretend like that's part of the college football playoff today. That's San Francisco 49ers at the Miami Dolphins, 4:25 kickoff. The Niners are now 6-8, pretty much done, right? And the Miami Dolphins are currently, where are they at? So they're second in their division, sitting at 6-8. It's going to be hard to get in for them, as it looks like the 3 teams that could potentially get in the AFC is going to be the Baltimore Ravens at 9-5, the Denver Broncos at 9-5, the Chargers at 8-6. Yeah, so the Dolphins are pretty much all but done too. So that game there, no real implications other than, Kyle Shanahan and his good friend Mike McDaniel, going at it head-to-head there as head coaches. That's about it. Only storyline there. So anything else you want to touch on here in the 4:25 or 4 o'clock window, rather?
No, just keeping an eye on that Vikings and Seahawks game.
Got it. All right. Sunday Night Football, Tampa Bay at Dallas. Listen, Dallas is refusing to roll over, man. Again, 6-8. And they, haven't had Dak for several weeks now. Again, if someone had told me, hey, they're going to be playing a majority of the season without Dak, and they're going to be sitting at 6-8 going into week 16, I would have said, okay, it's not like the end of the world, but we know how it is in Dallas. Everything is magnified out there because of their owner. Maybe Dallas can pull an upset here, Tim. Be playing at home against Tampa. I don't really expect it, but you never know, man. Any given Sunday, and that'll be the Sunday night game of the week. So at least we got a reason to watch that game, rooting against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's going to make people very nauseous in the chat. We're Cowboys fans on Sunday night. All right, that's the way that's going to go. So
yeah, absolutely. I don't know about fans, but definitely rooting against them for sure. Rooting against Tampa for sure in this one. Be nice to see Dallas steal a win.
yeah, and then of course the Monday Night Football game of the week is the Saints at the Green Bay Packers, 8:15 Eastern kickoff. Haven't looked at, but there is going to be a slight chance of some snow flying at Lambeau Field 2 days before Christmas. Man, it doesn't get any better than that. You kidding me? This is usually the game I try to make it up for, is like the week before Christmas, just to kind of hit the Christmas festivities in downtown Green Bay, and they're on the west bank of the Fox River in the northern part of Green Bay. They're on the west side, Tim. They got some really cool villages set up over there, man. They got the fires burning and everything outside. Nice shopping, good coffee, good hot chocolate, good food, greasy, deep fried food right there on the side of the street, man. It doesn't get any better.
Oh yeah, you gotta love it, man. This is the place to be in the winter for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I might have to do a little stretching, get the old legs out, get on that ice rink over there at Titletown,
Jeez.
make a fool out of myself. We'll see.
Yeah. I can't do it, man. This is how I end up every time I get on an ice skating rink right there. That's every single time. And Mandy's off to the side like this. She looks like a figure skater, just laughing her ass off at me the whole time.
I'm like, Clayton, let's go ice skating. And you're like,
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
It's funny, too. Anytime it gets brought up and we got a crowd around us, before she can say anything, I immediately jump in and talk about how bad she is at skating and how good I am at it. People are like, oh, really? And she's over going, no, not at all. Kidding me. I'm over there on the side waiting for her to get done skating. I'm like this with a bad hip, you know.
See, I'll get out there and try, but then when I'm done, I'm usually like,
On my knee.
Do we have any good ice skaters in the chat? I need to know, man. I can't do it. Like, seriously, man. I just can't. I can throw a baseball with just enough pressure on one individual finger to get two-seamer spin, curve, slider, knuckle, everything. Like, total control of my hands. Right? I get these big old mitts, too. But, boy, you get me on an ice skating ring or on rollerblades, I look like I'm trying to walk on the damn moon, dude. It's hilarious. So, anyway, enough ice skating talk. There you go, Blades of Fury. Anything else we want to hit on in terms of the matchups coming up? I think we pretty well covered it in terms of like playoff implications, all that good stuff, Tim. Anything before we move on to the NFL Pro preview here?
no, I think we got it covered. We know what to keep an eye on, what the implications are. So, you know, we're focused on our work, right? We got to get our win, take care of business at home.
Yeah.
You know, like I said all year, we haven't really gotten any help from any of these other NFC teams. I don't think we're going to, but hopefully this weekend is the surprise. You know, hopefully we get a Lions loss and a Vikings loss. That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be absolutely awesome for sure. All right, so let's go to the NFL Pro preview here as we've got the New Orleans Saints coming to town against the Green Bay Packers. The Saints are 5-9. They're currently the 13th seed in the NFC. The Packers are sitting at 10-4. They're the number 6 seed in the NFC as it sits right now. When you go to at a glance, the Saints are 17th in the league in points per game with 22.1. The Packers are 27.1 points per game. That's 7th best in the league. So obviously the Packers have one of the more potent offenses across the entire National Football League, finished at 7th there in points scored per game. In point differential, the Packers are currently 5th in the league at plus 92 point differential. The Saints are 17th at -3. All right. Records in close games. The Packers are 5-3 in close games. Remember, a short time ago, Tim, their record was kind of bad in that regard, wasn't it? It seemed like we were below 500. Now all of a sudden we're sitting at 5-3. Things are really starting to crank up. And then records in close games for the Saints, they're 2-5. Now, listen, no one's expecting this to be a close game, but boys, I'm telling you, you can't sleep on anybody in this league. Average margin of victory, though, they're first in the league at 17.8. So when they did, the game that they won the most points by, is the way I'm understanding this metric, 17.8 in terms of average margin of each of their victories, right? The Packers are 13th at 11.2. And I think that's why fans get a little upset, it seems like, right, Tim? We're not blowing teams out, that aren't named the Seahawks. It just seems like every week it's a close game. And, man, I think that's, to me, it's indicative of a good coaching staff, a good team, that you kind of play the game you're dealt. I would much rather that number be lower, like we're talking about, 11.2 average margin of victory, as opposed to losing more games. Obviously, right? The goal is to win every Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of the fan base, tends to fixate on final scores, right? We should have won by 3 scores, or we should have blew this team out. Just secure the win. I don't care. I don't care if it's ugly. I don't care if it's pretty. I don't care if it's a boat race. I don't care if it's down to the wire with, a black field goal to give us the victory. I do not care. Just get the dub. But obviously you want your team to have command, right, and be comfortable. But I think what we're, starting to see now is the Packers proving that they can be a comeback team. They can, be down in a game and never be out of it. And then they can also go up a couple scores and protect the lead and get out there with a victory too. So, and hey, it's indicative of the NFL, man. Everybody gets paid. Everyone's trying to win. It's a tough league to find success in. So you're going to have close games, and margin of victory is a tough one when you got these guys out there throwing laundry all over the field. So we'll see what it looks like on Monday with our boy Mr. Kemp here.
Exactly, Alex Kemp with the hanky there. I don't trust that thumbs up.
That looks like his like his album cover photo or something. Like Alex Kemp's Greatest Hits Volume 1 or something.
To me, it looks like the bad guy in a children's Christmas movie from the 90s. You know what I mean? Like he's sneaking into a festival or something and doing something he's not supposed to, right? Like, you have that run on movies where it's just like there's bad guys in the children's movie, but they're not like evil bad. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Like you think of, there's just a bunch of them. Anyway, it's like Home Alone, right? Like you got the 2 bad guys, but you love them because they're just so damn stupid, right? It's like, this is awesome.
Absolutely.
So, Greg Rice said 14 points is a lot to cover in the NFL. It really is, man. Again, I told you guys my rule is I do not gamble on Packer games unless it's just like, that's easy money. Let me take that in favor of the Packers. I would never bet against a spread against the Packers. I just don't understand people who like those type of rooting interests for their favorite team. But if this was any other game and I'm looking at 14, I'm teasing it to 14.5 or 15, and I'm taking the points. That's just typically how I roll when it comes to gambling. That's not live gambling, right? So it's a lot of points, Tim. A lot of points to cover. But again, man, you look at the juice too. Like if you were to take the Saints just to win outright, plus 600 is the juice. That's one of the higher numbers this year, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm not. You know me. I'm not a sports bettor. This is all Japanese to me. But honestly, it's cool to see though, because it kind of shows where the odds makers have it. We've always talked about this. Vegas sees these games pretty well. But yeah, I respect you because I know you're a sports bettor, but you won't touch this one. And you're not going to bet against our Packers. So I love you for it. Thanks, Clay.
Yeah, not going to happen, man. Not going to happen. Nick McSwain says, Love going to be setting traps like Macaulay Culkin. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about, man. That's what I'm talking about. All right, let's move on to the matchup comparisons here. This is where we get into as we say down here, the meat and taters of the bunch. Team overview, Saints offense, overall passing efficiency, they're 21st. The Packers passing efficiency on defense is 5th best in the league. That's a 4-star advantage for the Packers. Overall rushing efficiency for the Saints, they're 11th. The Packers rush defense efficiency is 11th. So a 1-star advantage to the Packers is what they're giving them there. To me, that looks a little more like a push than an advantage, but I'm sure they have their reasons for picking the Packers. And then the pressure rate, the Saints offense handles pressure 18th best in the league. The Packers applying pressure 28th best in the league. That gives a 1-star advantage to the Saints. So when it comes to the Saints offense against the Packers defense, just in simply a bird's eye view, team overview here, the Packers have a huge advantage in the overall passing defense against the Saints passing offense, and a 1-star advantage over their running game. Tim, how do you see that? I think that's a pretty accurate assessment, although I would give a little bit more, or not a slight edge. I would call it a push there in the rushing efficiency. It just seems like the Saints know how to run the ball, but keep in mind, I think Taysom Hill is still out, right? Yep. So if he's still on IR, then obviously Taysom Hill's a big reason why the running game was getting going, and also Alvin Kamara. So that's probably why they gave the slight advantage of the Packers is Alvin Kamara not going to be playing.
So where are they at on their depth chart then? Are we going to see some Jamal Williams on Monday night.
We might see some Molly out there, man. We may see it. And again, I think that he's probably on the bench for a reason. I haven't looked at any of his numbers. Matter of fact, just hit on this for a second. I'll look it up and see if Jamal Williams has played much this year.
I think it's important to look at the pressure rate here. When we talk about how our pass rush is, starting to trend upward and getting home. But it looks like the Saints are, relatively equipped to deal with the pass rush. So I think this is another game where, you're going to have Spencer Rattler there under center. So you want the rookie to have a lot to diagnose and think about. So I would think this is a game where, maybe we're going to blitz and keep the pressure on him, dialing up the fifth or sixth guy occasionally. But I would anticipate a lot of sugar from Hafley when it comes to, loading up the box, and maybe we go into those Tampa 2 looks and we got guys flying out in coverage. And, you give your rookie a lot to think about post-snap and pre-snap. I think that's going to be the approach. I don't think we're just going to unleash the dogs all day long on him. It might be more advantageous to just keep that kid in the pocket and let him make mistakes and let our secondary cook. That's just my thoughts on that.
Yeah, if I'm looking at this correctly, it looks like his workload has went down tremendously, being Jamal Williams. I think they're only showing 35 carries in 2024 for 129 yards. So I was trying to find his actual grade, but for whatever reason, they made that extremely difficult there to pull up. It was just pulling up the actual stats. And it looks like PFF's mobile stat on the telephone has on the telephone. Did you hear that? On the cell phone has changed quite a bit. Just dated myself. So we don't see where he's ranked in terms of overall grade. So it's just showing if these numbers are correct, he's on his way out of the league. Sounds like, Tim. It really does.
Yeah. Fred McFarley hitting up the chat. Kendre Miller, is that his? Kendre Miller? Should not be taken lightly. So that's the one to watch, right? So I'm assuming, like, looking at Jamal Williams' numbers, like you said, he probably won't get a bunch of carries. I'm assuming they're going to go with this other back, right?
Yeah, it looks like Kendre Miller, if I'm looking at it correctly. Let's see. Yeah, he got the majority of the workload last week, it seems like, with Washington. So it looks like it kind of bellied out around week 8. And then week 14, it might have even been a practice squad guy or something, because he doesn't show up from week 8 to week 14. And then obviously his workload increased in week 14 and then in week 15 as well. So might be able to pull it up on PFF on the computer, be a little easier. But we'll keep an eye on it, though. Again, when we look at the Saints preview here on PFF, we go to the lineups. Let's look at their offensive side real quick and see who it's showing. Yeah, it's showing Kendre Miller there. Or Kendre. I think that's how you say it, Kendre Miller. 74 PFF grade. His running grade, though, Tim, at 86.4. So
Fred's right. We can't take this guy lightly. Don't ignore that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been looking great in the run fits, though. So, I mean, I'm not overly worried. It's not like we've got Derrick Henry coming to town or something, but certainly someone you don't want to sleep on for sure.
Yeah, and it looks like he was a third-round pick in the 2023 draft. So, in 2023 is 74.1, and 2024 his grades are 74.0. So, really, really consistent, no doubt about that. Fred McFarley, his running style suits the bad weather. He's not a fancy dome back. Got it. Appreciate the update there, Fred, for sure. Let's move over to the Packers offense against the Saints defense here. And the big thing that sticks out, Packers passing offense, 7th most efficient in the league, according to NFL Pro. The Saints passing defense, not. So their pass defense is definitely their strength. No doubt there's no advantage there, according to Next Gen Stats. Overall rushing efficiency, the Packers are number 9. The Saints defense is 29. So that's a 4-star advantage for the Packers. And then, of course, handling pressure. Packers offense 10th best in pressure rate, against pressure rate. And then the Saints defense is 20th. So it's a 3-star advantage as far as pressure. So
this could be entertaining as hell, man.
Dude, this is the thing. Like, when you looked at every metric last week between the Packers and the Seahawks, it was Packers by a long shot, right? You look at this one, it's like, this feels like it could be a little closer than that 14 points. Again, I'm not betting on this game, but at plus 14, man, looking really appealing.
Crazy scenario, right? You're going to, on paper here, it looks like Jay Money's going to have time. He's going to have time in that pocket. But he's going to be looking down the field at some covered up guys on occasion. And we're going to have to keep the run game going. I think that's going to be the key, right? We can run the ball effectively. That should make things a little easier in the pass game. But if we're going to just sit there and, try and pick them apart down the field, it's going to be interesting going up against that coverage.
Yeah, and as Nick McSwain says here, man, I'm excited to see Jacobs in the first really cold weather game. Going to set a record for forced missed tackles. You're going to need him this week, man. There's no two ways about that. You are going to need him to try to make a big difference here in this game if their pass defense is as efficient as they're saying it is. This could be a big Josh Jacobs game. But you know what I'd like to see, Tim? Jump up to an early lead. And I know Jacobs doesn't want to do it. You listen, he's going to be playing in the game, but if you do jump up to an early lead, let's press into Chris Brooks. Let's press into Emmanuel Wilson a little bit. Right?
Get Josh his 25 carries in the first half, and then just boom, right? Buck 25 rushing. You got a couple tutters. Go sit down somewhere and rest up, buddy. We'll let.
I'd like to see us play. I'd like to see us go down the field like we did against Seattle, take an early lead, and then go up by 10. And let's let Jacobs finish the day with, 7 carries. That would be fine with me. But he's probably going to get the workload, no doubt, man.
For sure.
All right, here we go. Look, Nick McSwain, we're on the same page. Please don't give Josh Jacobs 25 carries. Under 20. Isn't it funny, too, Tim? When the team's losing, I'm as guilty as anyone. Hey, we need to get Josh Jacobs a damn ball. And then as soon as it looks like the playoffs are, we're probably pretty well. Let's stop giving Josh Jacobs the ball for a second.
we got to realize, though, he's a workhorse, man. Like he made the comments the other day, right? He said, I feel great. I'm not hurt. I'm feeling good. I think, after, 7 seasons with Aaron Jones? Aaron Jones, as dynamic as he was, that was a guy you wanted to watch the workload, right? You wanted to make sure you had him fresh. I think Josh Jacobs is a little more rough and tumble. I think he can take it, man.
Yeah. Greg Rice says, run the bleeping ball. There you go.
Amen.
Fred McFarley says, hopefully we can pull the varsity in the fourth quarter. Hope so. We might be looking up and they're pulling their varsity. You never know with this league, man. You just never know. Let's see. All right, let's move on to the matchup insights. This is one of my favorite aspects of us breaking down games going in as previews here. The Saints currently have a 357 winning percentage, which is their worst winning percentage in a season since they went 3-13. That winning percentage was 188, and that was in 2005. It says the Saints hired Sean Payton as head coach and signed Drew Brees following the 2005 season. So this is the worst that the Saints have been since right before they hired Sean Payton and obviously signed Drew Brees as a free agent when he left the Chargers. So, again, man, these guys are playing for their career too, though. Everybody's trying to put good tape out there, and they're trying to put themselves in a position to have a job next year. I think the big thing is what we noticed with the PFF preview, Tim, is like Cam Jordan having one of his worst years, right? That's a guy in the middle that if you don't have that dog up front, that 3-tech, you're going to struggle in every aspect of the defensive side of the ball. So, but it sounds like the Saints are at their lowest point since 2005, man.
Yeah, which is, every reason to have a healthy fear of a team like that, right? What the hell do they have to lose? I mean, I think we're going to get a dogfight from the New Orleans Saints. I don't think they're going to come to Lambeau and just lay down and go through the motions because their season's over. They're already, like you said, shifting towards future mode, right? You want to get good reps on tape. And the coaching staff is going to be looking for, who they need to move up and move down. And, so guys are really, they're playing for each other out there, and they're playing for future opportunities. And I don't think we can afford to take the Saints for granted at all, despite the fact that they're at the lowest of the low right now.
Yeah. Nate McSwain said the coaches need to protect him from himself. He'd be out there every play if it was up to him talking about Josh Jacobs. Yep. I think that's a very real thing, Nick.
That's so true. It really is.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of Josh Jacobs has scored 11 of his 12 rushing touchdowns since week 8, which are the most in the NFL over that span. So since week 8, there's no running back that scored more touchdowns than Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs' 9 rushing touchdowns in the last 5 games are the second most in a 5-game span in Packers franchise history, behind only, listen to this name, Jim Taylor's 11 touchdowns in a 5-game span in 1962, and that was an NFL championship year as well there. So pretty cool little parallel, guys. When something's being done for the first time, or I'm sorry, second most, and I don't know how many years that is since 1962, something special is happening in Green Bay, man.
Yeah, you got to love it when you're being compared to legends, right? You know, Jimmy Taylor, that's a legend right here in Green Bay. And I think it's awesome, man. We were excited when we got the announcement about Josh Jacobs coming to Green Bay, and then we had that, like 19 minutes or so where we thought we had him and Aaron Jones
right.
as a tandem thing, and we were excited. And I think we had every right to be. And, Josh Jacobs, to his credit, man, he's answered the call. We had some, not doubts, but we were questioning, which version of him were we going to get. He kind of had a down year as last year with the Raiders. And he came here reinvigorated, and he's balling at a high level, and I love it. It's awesome.
Same, man. Alontae Taylor, cornerback, number 1 for New Orleans, says Alontae Taylor has been targeted 91 times in coverage. That's second most in the league, and have allowed 60 receptions, second most, for 856 yards. That's the most in the league. It says Taylor has allowed 5 touchdowns in coverage without an interception this season, but has recorded 13 pass defenses, the most recorded without an interception this season. So Alontae Taylor, look for number 1. It sounds like he's getting picked on there, Tim. He's been targeted 91 freaking times, man. Second most in the league. I imagine, matter of fact, let me just look over here without pulling it up and see where Taylor is playing on their defense in the nickel.
Yeah, who's lined up on that? Who's going to torch him? Is it Rome or Scoot?
Alontae Taylor. And now listen, you got to keep in mind PFF isn't really taking formations into consideration. They just kind of lay it out. They're showing him as an outside corner, and in this case, covering the X. If that's the case, then you're going to see Romeo Doubs against Alontae Taylor. So might see a couple tutters for old Romeo Doubs in this game. Could be one of those situations where Josh Jacobs in this backfield carries the load, gets them inside the 5, and a couple back shoulder throws to Romeo. I can see that.
I just caught the ball.
Exactly. So keep an eye out for number 1 and see if he's getting cooked on Monday night, right? Jordan, this might be the suspect too. Jordan Love has 7 passing touchdowns and no interceptions in the last 4 starts after throwing an interception in each of his first 8 starts. They should just have in parentheses at the bottom. It should just say Toyotathon. That's all it should say right there. So, 7 passing touchdowns and 0 interceptions the last 4 starts, Tim. That's it's MVP-like numbers, man, over a short span, albeit, but pretty exciting stuff to see Jordan heating up again here.
Jordan Love-a-thon. I love it. It's a great time of year. It's he missed those games with the injury early. Ain't no telling what the numbers might have looked like if he was, available, and then struggled a little bit coming back, and now is just peaking at the right time, playing high level football. That's what you need for sure. Yeah. I'm fully confident that Jordan Love will be a league MVP at some point. It's just obviously not going to be this season, but who cares? We'll bring Lombardi home. That's all that really matters, right?
Yeah, definitely. Greg Rice in the chat said half watching have liked. Like let's get it to I don't know, somewhere around 65% maybe.
65%.
65%. That's what so if you guys would hit that like button for us, we greatly appreciate it. I don't mention it much. Try not to. It's an awkward feeling for me to ask someone to like my stream, but it does help. It really does. We appreciate everybody who takes the time to do that. Thank y'all so much for that. And feel free to sub to the channel too. Unless you think this show sucks, which it does. If that's the case, just pretend like we never even crossed paths. Y'all have a good day. All right. And let's go on to the next matchup inside. Saints offense against the Packers defense. Spencer Rattler has completed just 3 of his 13 deep 20-plus air yard pass attempts for 100 yards and 1 interception this season, while Jake Haener has completed 1 of 3 such attempts for 36 yards and 1 interception.
Who?
Giving gifts away over there, Tim, whether it's Jake Haener or Spencer Rattler. If they have to throw the ball more than 20 yards down the field, they seem to be turning it over there. So, again, you can't – if we should learn from our mistakes of Tommy DeVito.
Yeah.
just because it's a backup quarterback doesn't mean they can't come out and get hot at the right moment, have a perfect game plan put together, and beat you. But on the surface, Spencer Rattler and Jay Kaner seem to be struggling there.
Yeah, so I mean, what do you think that's going to do for their game plan? Obviously, they're not going to want to try and take the top off of our defense, but it doesn't mean they're not going to throw the ball and test us. So when we talk about their running backs, so they're going to have some semblance of a running game. They're going to attempt to run the ball and keep us honest. So you can't take that for granted. We can't get caught in too much cover zero or getting a little too aggressive, thinking they're not going to take that shot, and then they do. So just play them straight up, I think.
For sure. All right. Packers, Matt LaFleur is 23-5 as a head coach in December or later, which is second best record in NFL history among coaches who have coached at least 15 games in December or later.
Hold on, say that again. Read that one more time, Clayton.
Matt LaFleur, the Green Bay Packers head coach, this cat right here.
I had to get this on the screen. Let's hear it.
Gotcha. All right. Matt LaFleur, this dude with the 3 lung darts, is 23-5 as a head coach in December or later, which is the second best record in NFL history among coaches who have coached at least 15 games in December or later. You want to know who first is? Only Vince Lombardi's mark of 21-4-2 is better all time.
Let's go.
When it comes to December or later, the 2 coaches with the best record is one, Vince Lombardi, and then only 2 wins behind him is Matt LaFleur. So can we please stop with the Matt LaFleur slander, please? I
don't want to hear it anymore.
I know people getting their feelings on Sunday, and I know our listeners don't do this, but man, on Twitter, Lord have mercy. It's quiet while things are going good. The second things go bad, Matt LaFleur's an idiot. What's he doing? It's like, boys, if you expect to get a coach to have more success than this, good luck. This dude is coaching his ass off since day one stepping into the Green Bay Packers organization. And I would love to see him reach that 13-win mark again without Rodgers. But what he's done, now he's again, I looked at it again, he's right around top. I think he's 10th again on the all-time winning percentage list in NFL history of head coaches winning percentage. He's top 10 once again. So, man, love to see him finish this season strong and climb up there close to the 7 or 8 mark. You know what I mean?
Yep. I don't understand the hate from the fan base when it comes to Matt. I mean, I look at him, it's like what don't you like about Matt LaFleur? It's like if I had to ask myself that question, I'm like, well, that red flag bothers me sometimes.
Right.
Pissing away a timeout sometimes bothers me, but that's it. Those are your biggest complaints of your head coach. I think you're doing okay. I love him as a play caller. I love the way that he leads this team passionately and he connects with those players. All those guys want to play for him, and they're playing together. I think Matt's a great coach. No gripes at all.
Definitely. Nick McSwain says, but according to people on social media, LaFleur is a bad coach. He went on to say, one thing goes wrong and they come out of the woodwork. People expect everything to be perfect, but no NFL game is ever perfect. It really isn't, man. And there's a reason that they're calling something, right? There's always a reason. And again, it's not to say that you don't make mistakes. It's not to say that LaFleur's perfect. No one is. But, man, again, when you really step back and go, all right, what expectations do we have here? Matt LaFleur is he's exceeded mine, man. When they let go of Mike McCarthy and hired Matt LaFleur, I was one of those dudes was like, you're going to have to show me, bub. McCarthy did some amazing things here. Had one of the worst teams in the league in 2005, and then 2 years later had them playing in the Super Bowl, right? Or playing in the NFC Championship, I should say.
Yep.
And then moved on from a Hall of Fame quarterback to an unproven one and won a damn Super Bowl and coached him to multiple MVPs. And then you hire Matt LaFleur, and I'm going, all right, man, show me. He has. He's more than showed me. It was by halfway through season 2, I went, this dude's the real deal, because you could see how well he schemed up the passing game. It was unbelievable. And then also lowering the ego as a head coach and allowing Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams to do their little isolation game thing is huge. And
the fact that he was willing to, be flexible and marry some of those concepts into his system that year, taking some of the old things that Aaron and Davante liked from the McCarthy system and kind of working them into the game plan still. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, as Ron Sample says, it's a privilege to watch the coaching staff enjoy it while you can. He went on to say the youngest team in the league, too. It's a great point, man. Great point. Greg Rice says he's one of the best offensive play designers in the NFL. It's so true, and I try to study this stuff. I really do. And the big thing that stood out was slot cross and dagger. And then to see how he mixes in both of those concepts into a tray set or a trip set is wild. And now what he's doing with the running game out of the pony package, you could tell this is what he wanted to do last year with the pony package. When he first implemented it, you guys heard me if you listened to our pod, I was so over the moon excited about the pony package. And then you've seen it and it was like, this ain't working. But again, it was A.J. Dillon was the difference. It really was. And again, Aaron Jones would get banged up too, and it was A.J. Dillon in another back, or A.J. Dillon, they started putting Josiah DeGuara back there, and it's just like, this ain't working. Well, now what's the difference? Why is it working now? Josh Jacobs is staying healthier, knock on wood, than Aaron Jones ever did, and you've got Jaden Reed that you're putting back there with the pony package. And then you're mixing in some Chris Brooks as the Y, or I'm sorry, as the H in the pony package, leave Jaden split out wide, use him on jet motion, then use Chris Brooks as a lead blocker, and you're doing orbit with the T on a counter run is like Matt LaFleur he's a mad scientist.
Now we got Ben Sims instead of DeGuara, right? So that's an upgrade too at tight end. So you're absolutely right. That's the difference, man. The GM comes in, helps you get that get the personnel you need to go to the next level. And your coach does what he's supposed to do, is take that talent and go win ball games. And, you talk about the expectations. What are the expectations? The expectation is to win the Lombardi every year. And you can tell Matt is focused on that and that alone. He doesn't care about the coach of the year accolades or, how many potential MVP candidates we might have on this team. He wants to win a championship. And that's who I want, coaching my team. Let's win it all.
J. Cole says pony package with Josh Jacobs and Marshawn Lloyd. Let's go, dude. Let's go. Let me give you another one too. Imagine Marshawn Lloyd gets healthy, and then you come out in, let's say it's a 21. Let's call it a 20 person. Of course, you don't want to take Tucker Kraft off field. Let's say it's 21, right? Marshawn Lloyd and Josh Jacobs. You break the huddle, and you march Marshawn Lloyd out to the slot, and you bring Jaden Reed into the backfield. Think of how that's going to throw. I mean, they're going to be in their base package trying to cover a receiving threat at the running back position with a linebacker, most likely, right?
Absolutely.
And then you still got all this counter, all this orbit, everything is still on the table. The big thing with Marshawn Lloyd for me is hopefully – listen, there's nothing that's going to replace game time reps, but hopefully he's been in that playbook to where he's just going to hit the ground running, right? You still got to get those in-game reps though to really feel what it's like to be in the offense.
It's so tough because I don't want to say I want to be excited because I am excited for him, but it's like I want to watch Marshawn Lloyd highlights and all I can do is look at USC tape. We got to see him out here in the NFL and getting some reps. So I do think we're a better team with him active. We've we took him in the draft for a reason, a multitude of reasons. And he is a dynamic back, but he can't make the club in the tub, right? So hopefully he sees the field and gets some carries because the running back room is definitely stronger with him available for sure.
Yeah. Ron Sample says, need to get Brooks a touchdown. He gave up his one chance to win the game. That's a great point. That would be awesome if Monday night you can get Chris Brooks that touchdown, Tim, where he laid down earlier in the year to secure the win,
Yeah.
Huge, man. Huge Rolodex play there for sure. Greg Rice says, I want to see 22 packages. I'm not a big fan of 22, Greg, but let's think about it for a second. It would mean Tucker Kraft and Musgrave on the field as the two tight ends, and then Marshawn Lloyd and Josh Jacobs as your 2 running backs, right? That would be your 22 personnel. And it would also mean 1 wide receiver. So in order to get to a 22 package, you got to take Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, Christian Watson. You got to take 2 of those 3 players off the field, right? So you're asking yourself, is it worth it to press into a scheme design as opposed to taking, your best player off the field? Meaning, let me ask you this. You've got 1 play to make, 1 play. Who would you rather have on the field? Romeo Doubs or Luke Musgrave? I want Doubs on the field. Who would you rather have on the field? Christian Watson or Luke Musgrave? I want Christian Watson on the field. Who would you rather have on the field? Jaden Reed or Luke Musgrave? It's Jaden Reed I want on the field, right? So that's the only problem with 22 now. If you use it to mix and match and kind of give people a breather real quick, if you're a little banged up in the wide receiver room at some point, I could see it being worth it. But that's kind of the way. Now, also on the counter side, when you say, what do you mean by scheme, Clayton, like scheming a matchup in? If you come out in a 22 package, Tim, you got those players on the field, Marshawn Lloyd, Josh Jacobs, Luke Musgrave, Tucker Kraft, and let's say it's Romeo Doubs, okay? Or no, Christian Watson. Let's say Christian Watson, the speed guy. And you come out and you run 22, and they go to a heavier base set. They may go to like a 4-4 look or something, right? And then all of a sudden you come out and spread everything out with those guys. Musgrave can play wide receiver. Tucker Kraft has been flexed out even more here the last 3 weeks. Christian Watson will stretch the defense completely. We know Josh Jacobs can catch the football. And if Marshawn Lloyd's that guy, we know Chris Brooks can. You can do it with Chris Brooks. Yeah. If you did come out in a 22 package and go spread, watch that defensive coordinator throw his damn hat on the ground. I guarantee you. What are these guys doing? So
I also think it could be a good look sometimes deep in the red zone, right? We talk about getting too razzle-dazzle, too fancy that, down inside the 10 or inside the 5-yard line. Maybe that's a time that you roll out 2 running backs and 2 tight ends and you just play strong big boy football. And, you don't necessarily have to spread them out. You can run condensed there in the red zone and find your way into the end zone with any one of those guys. So, but I'm with you. 22 is not a personnel grouping you want to see a lot. I think it would be fun once in a while, though.
Yeah. Greg Rice says leaving 11. That's where I'm at, Greg.
Yeah.
I just painted this beautiful picture of how we could manipulate the defense with 22, and I'm going, just stay with 11. We're good right now. Let's just keep doing what we're doing, right? So let's see. Nick McSwain says Bill Belichick loves 22-year-olds. All right. So you got,
oh my God!
Somebody hit the symbol for me there. Let's see here.
Wow.
We already hit on Greg. There was one other one here.
It's on fire already. I love it.
Yeah. We'll wrap it up with this. Nick McSwain says people hated Rodgers on not, quote, running LaFleur's offense, but he had one of the best statistical seasons in NFL history. 48 touchdowns, 5 interceptions during that time. It's so true, Nick, and much like this year, the only time you heard people complaining was when we lost. If you lost the game, it was Aaron's refusing to run Matt LaFleur's offense, right? Tim, remember Aaron's always changing the play.
It's called playing quarterback in the NFL. It happens in every single game by every single team every single week.
Yeah. I said going into Jordan Love's first year, are y'all going to keep that same energy when you see Jordan changing the play? And he did over and over and over. Like, if you don't like the quarterback changing the play, then you're not allowed to like that touchdown down the seam in Minnesota last year on New Year's Eve. Right?
Nobody wants a quarterback that's not capable of diagnosing a defense pre-snap and changing the play. That's literally part of your job description.
And that's exactly what Aaron was saying when Matt LaFleur got hired, and the media made this big deal about that Matt LaFleur's not going to let Aaron change the play at the line, right? And then they go to Aaron and go, hey, what do you think about Matt not letting you change the play? And what did Aaron say? Well, I mean, I got 14 years, 16 years of NFL experience. I don't think you want to turn that off, right? You want to utilize that. And then, of course, Matt comes back and scolds the media. Man, y'all making a big deal out of this, ain't you? And lo and behold, we go into the season and Aaron's up there changing the play, and they're on the same page or seeing the same thing, right? So,
yep.
Yeah.
And he was running LaFleur's offense, by the way, right? Like we've talked about. They had those conversations and they married some of those concepts that Aaron was comfortable with. And that's really when he hit those MVP numbers, man. It clicked for the Matt LaFleur and Aaron at that point. So I'm all for it. I'm not gonna sit there and have that argument. we've learned what the truth is, right? Hindsight's 2020. We know the facts, you know.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, anytime you hear this stuff and you think, is that true? The truth is always on the tape. And if you don't have the all 22, you can still get the truth off the broadcast, guys.
Yep.
Like, just take your eye off the ball and focus on what's actually happening on the field. Like, that's what we did with the pass rush this year. And that's why we did not freak out over the pass rush. We were laughing and roasting people, going, boy, they don't know what the hell's going on. They're just kind of – it's the same thing going into the upcoming season where the media was, man, they're going to be playing very aggressive press man. And we're going, no, they're not. No, they're not. And here's why they're not. It's not that we're so damn smart. It's the answer is on the tape. He didn't do it at BC. Nobody in the NFL does it. This is not just going to be a magical thing. I know you want to write your article and get some clicks, and you did good. Good job, bub. But that's inaccurate information. That's not going to happen. So
coverages through week 15. Look at that left side. Can you circle that? You got a little cursor you put on the screen there, Clayton?
We just have those kind of technological advancements.
I was going to say, look at the Packers there. Look at that man coverage.
Yeah.
See a lot of man coverage there?
20%.
Nope.
Yeah, what's crazy too is the folks that were saying that going into the year, right, were making it sound like we're going to rewrite the coverage book for the NFL. We're going to play so much man. And then when you look at that heat map that Tim just had up, we're as cold as anyone in man coverage. Like, look at that. Like, that's as light of blue as you're going to find on this chart, right?
Yep.
I mean, you're talking 3% cover 0 and 17% cover 1, 0% cover 2 man. 20% of the snaps, again, man coverage. So, anyway, we're over. Appreciate y'all. I could talk ball with y'all all day, man. The chat has been absolutely awesome. We appreciate y'all more than you know. We'll be back most likely tonight. I'll try to keep you guys up to date. We may go live again at 7. I want to look at the college slate, and also we got some really good football on. We may just take the night off, but that's why we want to do it. Definitely want to do a double episode today. Tim, I'll let you know as soon as I find something out. And as we always say, man, if you can't make it, no big deal, man. If you got plans with the wife, do your thing, all right?
For sure. Thanks,
all
Mike.
Right, Nick McSwain said this show sucked. Thanks, fellas. Have a good day. So we'll be back maybe tonight, definitely tomorrow morning. We will get you guys ready for a full day of football tomorrow as well. Thank you, Fred. Appreciate you, buddy. You guys are awesome. Drew, good to see you in here, man. And thank you for sending that, Drew. I was going to share it, actually. I tweeted it, but I didn't share my Twitter page yet. So we may do that tonight if we go live. Drew sent me something over there, building a new gym over in Titletown. Really cool. So you can go over there and work out. You know what I mean, Tim? I don't do that type of stuff much.
Go there and pretend to work out. Just use the hydrotherapy and, the nice cafe they're going to have over there. Get you a smoothie.
Exactly. Yes, smoothie. All right, guys, we're out of here. Appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all either tonight or tomorrow morning. We'll let you know. Be looking for the link to drop. And obviously Monday's going to be a busy day. We'll be doing a pregame show and a postgame show. It's going to be a lot of fun as the Packers get ready for the Saints. Everybody have a great day. Bye.
And we go.
We're out. Bye, guys.